Thank you. If I can
5
provide
more minutes
just
with
brief
Maxim.
comment.
So yeah.
Yes, I'm awfully sorry, colleagues, because then I have a call, or I also have a planned call. So I would have just to briefly comment. It is also my pleasure to teach for the Department of Journalism, but now I'm supervising two PhD theses actually with that department, and both of them deal with how you misuse information. One of the PhD theses is an interesting topic: how the so-called fake republics in DNR, LNR used media to construct their fake statehood. It is an exciting topic. How they really use and how they also manipulated the Western audiences into believing there might be some sort of people's republic there. It is very interesting how they use media to manipulate because they know the rules of the game of the Western civilized world and they misuse them for their own good. So this is one thing. Second thing, I think, was who will be entitled to have a share in our victory. To put it the other way around, if you remember before the invasion, especially in December and November of 2000, now what is it like? 2020 now, that one would be when we had so many world leaders coming to Kiev to visit us. There were some journalists, especially those who were pro-Russian journalists. Now we have almost none of them, or at least they are hesitant to utter the voice, which I find very good. So they said, why are they all coming to us? They are not here to help Ukraine. They are here for their own internal political benefits. Well, my response is, why would I care? People definitely use visits to Ukraine to appeal to their voters, to show that they're doing something. This is the Western civilized democracy and politics as it is. Right. Pure. It is in Russia where Putin goes somewhere, to die for Amphora or something. It's insanity. But this is exactly what they have. What they have rights to. They're helping Ukraine, but they also have to communicate with their voters and stuff like that. Unlike, I think there's an exception to that, and this is a good exception because we cannot equal that all, is the president of Georgia, who decided to tell us that the peace treaty with Ukraine will have to include the withdrawal of Russian troops from Abkhazia and Ossetia. I think you've heard this, because she commented it, and I think this is a wrong time. Secondly, I think if every single country that was ever occupied by Russia, or which is now occupied by Russia, will come up with such suggestions, then we Ukrainians are entitled to ask, excuse me, what was your contribution exactly? And this is correct that we are actually fighting back Russia. The same, before, even after the invasion, right after way, these jokes that Ukraine should cross the border to Russia and liberate Belgorod People's Republic. So we shall liberate them. And so I do trust this information. I saw these jokes from people from Belgorod who said, maybe Ukrainian Nazis are better than the corrupt Putin's people. And this is what the good indicator for me to say, excuse me, you will have to liberate yourselves. And maybe in 50 or 100 years, if you would love to join Ukraine, once you get rid of Putin. So this is something. It's not that that we Ukrainians have to change the whole world for good. Of course, we will have to change Russia, because Russia is a threat not only to Ukraine. And those countries who help us, definitely they are entitled to have this kind of share in our victory. But for those who expect us Ukrainians to liberate them, to bring peace with Russia to them, whereas when in reality they contribute nothing to our victory. This is a different story. Maybe for our next discussion, how countries contribute and what will happen to Ukraine, to Russia after we win this war, and that will definitely happen.
Yeah, great comment, Maxim, and thanks a lot for joining us. That was a pleasure, and that was a